TD Ryan Unleashed is brought to you by Scott Zyman, your State Farm insurance agent. Scott can help you save money bundling your home and auto insurance. Call 815-748-3101 or stop by at 2587 Sycamore Road, Suite D in DeKalb. Like a good neighbor, Scott Zyman and State Farm are there. Pizza Villa, pizza, pasta, sandwiches, and more at 824 West Lincoln Highway in DeKalb. For delivery or pickup, call 815-758-8116 or go to pizzavilla.com. My Insurance Guys in Sycamore, family owned, local, reliable. My Insurance Guys cover Medicare to auto and everything in between. Call us in Sycamore at 815-899-0950. My Insurance Guy, business, auto, home, life, and health at myinsuranceguy.com. And Eldercare Services of DeKalb County, safe, secure, and supported, helping you stay at home where you want to be. Call 815-758-6550 or stop in at 1701 East Lincoln Highway in DeKalb or on the web at ecsdekalb.org. And welcome into TD Ryan Unleashed, bonus sports podcast number 1. And boy, we couldn't be any more honored with Sycamore native Ethan Storm has been selected by the Tampa Bay Rays in the 13th round. And he's here to talk about. Ethan, how you doing, my friend?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Get right on top of that if you could, Ethan. And we could comfortable. Ethan's a tall drink of water. We got to fit him in here. And of course, it says here, Ethan Storm shined at high school in Sycamore High School. And a big part of that is sitting right next to you. And that is Coach, Hall of Fame Coach Jason Cavanaugh. Coach, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, TD. Thanks for having us.
It's got to be a great moment for you. You know, I was thinking about how long you've been coaching there, Coach, and I just saw a little blurb from the Chronicle that Coach Joe Ryan is stepping down, and I'm thinking you two got to have been started right around the same time, huh?
Yeah, I think Joe started maybe in 2004, and my first year as a varsity coach was 1998. So I was the freshman coach for 3 years before that. So we've been here together for a really long time.
All right. Well, Ethan, we want to talk about your time at Sycamore High School and, of course, your time at Rock Valley College as well, setting a number 4th in strikeouts your freshman year. And then playing with the Rockford, I never heard of the Rockford Rivets, and all of a sudden I'm hearing about them all over the place. But tell us about that. You got a big decision to make. You committed to the University of Oklahoma, but now you're going to go sign a contract with Tampa Bay on Monday. Tell us what it's going to be like on Monday. Ethan, what do you know as far as what that's going to look like?
Yeah, so as of now, it's looking, still waiting to hear exactly when the flight is, but looking like flying out Monday to put me up. I don't know if it's an apartment or a hotel right away. Then Tuesday, got my physical, and so if everything looks good, then I'll be signing the contract. So super blessed for the opportunity and looking forward to it all.
What a drive. I've been so excited to talk to you. I'm excited. I can't imagine what you and your family are like. So do you know, will that be at the stadium or where will you actually sign the contract?
So I'll be in Port Charlotte at their spring training complex.
Okay.
Do the physical and everything there, and I'll probably spend some time and kind of wait for assignment, whether I'll be playing, probably starting rookie ball there, and then waiting to see what happens from then on.
Any little injuries, anything nagging you now going in?
No, I'm feeling really good. First season back off Tommy John surgery, so we're just really happy to be back and playing, and been feeling really good so far.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it like this, but Tommy John surgery has almost become routine these days. I mean, Coach, you can tell me through the years we see a lot of players now.
Sure. I mean, we had at Sycamore, we had never had a player have Tommy John surgery, and now Ethan had his last year, and then Owen Piazza just had it too. But we're starting to see it more and more just because of the velocity with which people are throwing. The ligaments aren't really meant to handle that, and the major league teams now, the first and foremost thing they care about is velocity.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to be able to throw hard, and you get away with a lot more when you throw harder. So and we're starting to see kids specialize in sports a little bit more. So kids were playing baseball only, and they're playing baseball 9 months a year. They're going to start to see a lot more injuries, and I don't think it's showing any signs of slowing down.
Now, Ethan, were you shocked by the injury? Were you depressed by that? What was it like when you found out you're going to have the surgery?
Yeah, it was definitely a tough moment for me, but it was one of those where that I wanted to keep playing baseball for a long time. So I think in the back of my mind, I always knew that there could be a chance that an injury like that occurs just with how common it is. But I mean, for me, it was definitely a blessing because being out of the game for so long and just allowed me to realize how much I truly care about and love the sport. So it really helped me grow and mature as a player. And so it was really kind of just that silver lining of helping me almost re-fall back in love with the game. And just know I really want to keep pursuing it and just see where it can take me. So.
Now, you look in really great shape. Were there exercises just for the arm, though? Was that kind of weird doing just arm exercises?
Yeah, so the arm was pretty finicky. You got to stick to a pretty strict schedule. But for me, it was just lower body, like hammering lower body. I was probably hitting legs 4 days a week. Probably more than I should, but it was just a big lower body emphasis for me while I was going through the rehab. And then obviously just following along all the notes and, doing the little 2-pound dumbbell shoulder raises and whatnot. So it's just sticking to a routine, sticking to your plan, and really it's just one of those, there's days you don't want to do it, but it's just grinding through those those rehabs even when you don't want to do it, because you know at the end of the road it's going to pay off, and then you'll come back healthier. So
probably borrowed coach's 2 pound weights. Is what he's using nowadays.
Right, use them up to 2. Yeah.
But now you're throwing 95, 96 miles an hour, right?
yes, sir.
That's great. So let's talk about Tampa Bay a little bit. I was looking at the numbers and I realized you're almost as old as the Tampa Bay Rays, aren't you?
Sure.
I started in 1998. When did they switch from the Devil Rays to the Tampa Bay Rays?
That I'm not sure. That was before my time of being a fan for them, I'm sure.
Coach, chance to steal?
5 or 6 years ago, I think.
2008. 2008 is when
Okay.
I didn't realize that myself, but they have a 2,141 to a 2,226 winning percentage, a 490 winning percentage. A couple playoff appearances. Of course, they made the World Series in 2020. Tell us about why you were, because I was going to joke that even kids in Tampa Bay don't want to play for Tampa Bay. Tell us about why you chose Tampa Bay, why this is a dream come true for you.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I grew up a Rays fan. I got family down in Florida, so when we visited them I want to say I was in 4th grade. That was actually one of my first MLB games, and saw a Rays game. Grew up an Evan Longoria fan, always wanted to play third base and kind of model after him a little bit. And I've been still carrying around my old Rays wallet that I've had since then. So, it's a full circle moment for me to be able to play for that organization and really just, grow up a lifelong fan. And I mean, knowing that the opportunity was right there and they're one of the teams that were heavily scouting me, it was pretty awesome. And then obviously that opportunity came when they came calling, and I think it was a no-brainer for me to go there and what their philosophies are in the organization of just throwing strikes, not really trying to locate and just make the hitter beat you. I think that fits my personality well and the way I like my pitch style. So really just truly blessed to be with them.
But now growing up in Cub country around here, do you get a lot of grief about people saying that you want to go play for the Rays?
No, not really. I mean, at the end of the day, I'd say I'm a Cubs fan too. It's just growing up, obviously Tampa Bay fan, so it's always stuck with me, but I definitely am a big Cubs fan as well.
All right, very good. Now, the number I'm always wondering, the uniforms are really cool for Tampa Bay as well, but you were number 5 in high school, and I don't know what numbers you took at college. Was that an important thing, or is a number important to you?
Well, was I number 3 in high school, and then I always try to
3, okay.
Yeah, I always try to stick with something that's got 3 in it. So freshman year of college, 3 was taken, so I was 33, and then I got 3 this past season. And then summer ball with the State College Spikes, I chose 13. And so, at the end of the day, I'm not sure what number I'll get in the future, but...
Why the 3, though? Why?
3 Evan Longoria.
Okay, so you're your boy.
Yeah, and so always wanted to be number 3.
And I noticed with his stats, Evan Longoria, you physically resemble him. You were almost the same 6'1", and what are you...
6 foot, 6'2", about
6'2",
200 something pounds.
He comes in at 198 there.
Yep.
Well, it's his older stuff. I'm going to quiz you later, by the way, and even Evan Longoria quiz we have coming up here. But I was wondering, Coach, did you care about your number when you were playing back in the day?
I always had 27. I don't know why. One year that was probably the last number that was left, and I got that number, and so I just stuck with that. Just until a couple of years ago when we had a player who wanted it, and I don't even really wear a jersey except in the picture anyway. So I've given it up the last few years, and I like to pick something like 44, 16.
Okay.
I don't know why those numbers, but I tend to like those numbers a little bit better.
I saw some comedian joking about baseball being the only sport where the manager wears a uniform.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I've petitioned the IHSA.
Tommy Lasorda back in the day.
And tried to get that out. It makes no sense. What am I going to go play? That's always the thing. We still have to wear baseball pants, and I'm always so jealous. When I see the softball coaches and the basketball coaches, football coaches, but now I got to wear my monkey suit out there.
So we're trying to figure out, Evan knows, Ethan. So when you sign with the Rays now, would you go right and start playing ball now here in July, or how does that play out?
So I'm not exactly sure. I think a lot of it depends, like what they see overall health. If they want to try to build me back up to being game ready, even though I'd say I'm pretty ready. I just pitched the day before the draft. But I think not exactly sure, but I'd assume probably train for a little bit, then kind of head into like the complex, like rookie ball. I know they're reading through like the notes that I was sent by one of my signing scout is they're doing like a bridge league. So complex league ends in the end of July, and then I'm assuming the bridge is kind of just another thing to carry over for these newly drafted guys or even some of the development guys to keep playing on until August, September, October, whenever. So I'm not exactly sure what that looks like, but I assume rookie ball and obviously perform well, and maybe I could catch the end of the season of like low A or something. So just a lot of unknowns right now, so we'll see.
Yeah, so meanwhile, Oklahoma's sitting right there now. So what happens there? So come fall, what will you do? Have you decided?
Yeah, so I'm going to take the contract with Tampa Bay, and I know I talked, my Oklahoma coach was the first one to call me right after I got picked, and basically told them there, I think I already knew, I got the number I wanted to sign for, so I told them right away that I was going to go play for Tampa Bay.
Very good. Now, Coach, you probably pay attention more than I. Do we see more of the younger college baseball players going pro, their sophomore, junior year?
I don't think so. I think, most of the time, if you go to a Division I school, you can't get drafted until after your junior year.
Oh, really? Okay.
Which is why a lot of guys elect to go the junior college route, because that gives you, more opportunities to be drafted. And so, when you look at it, there were 600 players that were drafted roughly, and 30 teams and 20 guys per team, and I think what a great honor to be picked,
right?
And especially like the 13th round. Like the 13th round, I just think people don't realize that's big time. That's not, just because you're not picked in the first or second round doesn't make any difference. It's still, I've been coaching here 31 years. I've never had a draft pick, and so I think it's an incredible honor to do that. And I think it's a bold move to take it too.
It is.
To get going and
talk about a life decision I have to make early.
That's what I think. When kids go to school so far away, and this is bigger than that. It's like he's going to go live in Florida now. Now you live in Florida, and and I do think it's a great team to get drafted by, because the Rays get pitchers to the big leagues. They get guys there, and that's not to say that everyone makes it, but they're also wheelers and dealers. They make a lot of trades, and I've always said for years, when if you're another major league team and Tampa wants one of your players, you probably better hold on to them, because they seem to flip those guys around. And here's an organization that I think they have the best scouting in baseball.
Well, they must, because you look through the years, they've the last 10. They've had these quality players.
Yeah, and then they trade for people in other organizations where the player was kind of a flop in that organization, and pretty soon he's in the big leagues. And so I think it's excited. I can't wait to get to see Ethan when he gets in their pitch lab and the things that they're doing, because he fits the profile perfectly of the Rays. And so like for the Rays to want Ethan is fantastic. Like he didn't have a choice in going to the Rays, but maybe a little bit of a choice.
But it certainly worked out.
Yeah. And
now, what is the pitch lab? You can't use these terms.
Where they get in, they do
literally what it sounds like.
Yeah, biomechanical analysis, and they'll tweak little things here and there to make him throw a little bit harder, to make his breaking pitch a little bit sharper. And then they'll get into tunneling different pitches, and so to make sure the fastball and the curveball and the changeup come out of the same arm slot. And it's just stuff you just don't generally get to see in high schools and small colleges.
Right.
When you get into the bigger colleges, they have these things. When you get into professional baseball, they have all of these different things. And, every team has their own pitch lab now, and they'll break every single thing down to the smallest minute details, and how he responds to those will determine how he moves up in the organization.
Okay, wow, that's great. What do you think about it? I always joke with people, when I was a kid, I was a quasi-athlete, but I have no pictures, videos, anything of me athletically, and I'm sure since you were a little guy, you've had that. What is it like to watch yourself, especially pitching? Does it help you? Is it weird to watch yourself pitch?
Yeah, I think there's times when I feel like I'm kind of falling, not necessarily out of a routine, but like kind of out of mix and like my rhythm.
Right.
I can go back and watch videos of like when I felt like I really had it, and kind of just watching myself, like when I, felt really good, kind of helps me just like sync up and for like my next outing or something, just kind of helps. Just watching the way my body moves and just visualize how I want to move, just really helps me kind of really find my rhythm, back in my rhythm, and just click.
And how about telegraphing pitches? Is that a problem? Because I know some guys will give away, he's going to throw a curve, because he just did that thing with his hand.
Yeah.
Do you become aware of that?
In a sense of tipping pitches, you'll know right away. If you feel like you're giving up more hits or whatnot, then or coaches and other guys can pick up on it. And usually you can read if there's a guy on second and he's sticking an arm down or they're doing something weird out of the ordinary. So you can tell if maybe you're tipping pitches, but it's something that I feel like I've worked on, especially kind of coming back from these higher levels that I've played at over the summer and whatnot, and just really learning how these guys work and operate, because at the end of the day, they're there for a reason. So, they can pick up on the littlest things, and, they're good hitters. So just kind of working around that and figuring out what I can do to, just dominate.
And Coach, when you had Ethan in high school, did you tweak the windup at all? Did you keep it pretty much the same?
A little bit. He had a strange high school career, because his freshman year, he was moved up to the sophomore team. And then his sophomore year, there was no season.
Yeah.
That was 2020. That was the COVID year. And so, he didn't. So there was no season. The world shut down on about March 13th or so. And I know Ethan and a bunch of guys, a bunch of area local players, got together at the Sycamore field and would just play pickup games day after day after day out there. And And so then I think it was in the one summer where, we had this big, tall, lanky, athletic kid who threw hard, and he just didn't throw enough strikes. I remember we took video of him on the park mound one day, and I videoed 6 or 7 pitches, and, every time his foot would land, his arm was in a different spot. And so that just led to, not being able to throw strikes consistently. And so I just said to him one day, I was like, can you just set it right here and go? Like think Roger Clemens or Nolan Ryan, how they just
they won't stop.
Yeah, they just set the ball there and go. And he was athletic enough to be able to do that. And so from that moment on, he just became a short armor who never walked anybody. It was just, he just threw strikes.
Is that right?
Yeah. And, watching his bullpens, even through his rehab, they would be posted on X or Twitter, and I would watch the bullpen, and I was like, he's only 6 months out of surgery and looking like that. It's like, to me, that looked like a major league breaking ball. It wasn't a high school roller. It was, starting to get 2/3 of the way there and just dive. And, they look like major league shaped pitches to me. So,
wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I was going to go over the seasons here because I put bold letters, no season. And so you went and played pickup games with the other guys. And what was that like? I mean, obviously setting your own rules and what was that like?
I mean, it was definitely a weird experience. And I mean, for me, it was an experience where like you just go out and have fun with your buddies and just put in the work. And it's cool too, being a younger guy then. I mean, sophomore, whatever. And there'd be some guys from NIU or from different colleges.
Oh, wow.
So you're throwing against a lot of older guys. And I think it's pretty cool, being able to watch guys like that. And it's like, man, I want to get there one day. I want to get to that level and whatnot. So I think it was definitely some bunches that sucked during that time. I think it was pretty beneficial to just, go out there and compete against guys of all ages, even, if they're not in high school. So, I mean, it was just a good time to kind of relax a bit and just play your own game at the end of the day with, just some of your best friends.
Did you have an umpire, or did you guys call balls and strikes?
No, I mean, that's when you could get a little chippy with that of balls and strikes where you think it's a strike, the hitter won't agree. But no umpires, just some guys trying to, just compete against each other.
Now, I was going to save it for later, but what do you think about now? I was watching the All-Star game, and they did challenging the strike zone. Is that something, this is going to be your game, do you like that? Do you want to be able to do that?
I think if I'm pitching and I want to challenge, it's cool. But if a hitter wants a challenge, I don't like it. But I mean, at the end of the day,
all right.
I like just plain old baseball. So, I mean, I'm not a fan of how they want to get away from umpires and stuff. I want the old game of baseball back. So,
all right, I was right. I didn't like the DH in the 70s. I was upset about that, but I can understand. Do you think that would I can say piss were but would that piss the umpires off if you challenge them? It's kind of a.
I don't know. I think that those guys are the good ones. The ones at the really high level are mostly about getting it right. Getting it right. It's a really tough job.
Oh yeah, that's what I think this thing makes you appreciate how difficult the job is.
I think it makes us appreciate. The whole All-Star game. I think there were 3 challenges. So that means I got 3 pitches wrong, and there was maybe another one that wasn't challenged. I felt like Judge wanted to challenge that pitch in the first inning, and he says, "Nah, I don't want to be the first one to do it."
No,
but I did read an article recently about how their Major League Baseball is completely changing the way that they sign catchers now. It's all going to be about the catcher's offense because they're, in general, major league teams are getting nothing offensively out of catchers. It's all about getting strikes called strikes. They don't care if they can throw guys out at second base. And so they said within 5 years, it will be the robo umpire. It will be the automatic strike zone. So it won't matter how catchers catch pitches.
They don't have to frame them anymore.
They don't have to frame pitches anymore in the major league. So they'll be able to set up even sideways in a more throwing position. So I think it's, I just thought it was an interesting article something that I'd never thought about. So
yeah.
But yeah, it's. I think it's an exciting time. I think they're making changes to baseball, and I'm a baseball purist too. And I was like, oh, don't make the bases bigger. But then I went to a game and looked at it, and I was like, that base doesn't look any bigger to me. They look the same to me. And if it gets the ball in play more and more exciting plays on the baseball field, I'm all for it.
Well, how about the pitch count, Ethan? Are you down with that? Would you like to see that at the high school level, Coach?
We already have pitch counts at the high school level.
I mean pitch clock.
Yeah. I would love to see the pitch clock.
Okay.
And I always thought the pitch clock. I'm always all about the pitcher being on attack. Get the ball, get ready to throw. And we talked about hitters. We don't want the hitters to be on their heels. So you can step out, you can call timeout. And so let's eliminate some of that. Let's get back to, hour and a half games instead of the games going over 2 hours because everybody's got to step off and all these mound visits and things like that. So, I like the pitch clock, and pitchers can use it to their advantage too. You can sit and make a guy wait.
Who was the guy in Texas? They used to call him the human time.
Oh yeah, he was
every time he had to do all these things. So what do you think about that? Are you down with the clock? Are you all right with that? Because you pitch at a good pace anyway, and you're outfielder. You're infielders and outfielders like that too, right?
Yeah, the pitch clock's something that's never really bothered me at all. I mean, at the end of the day, when I throw, I feel like I don't even notice it at times. Like, I'm one where I want the ball back and I want to throw my next pitch. But at the two, it's one that when I'm trying to vary my timing with a runner on first or maybe second, it's like, okay, so maybe I held to 11 seconds here. I'm going to go to 6 seconds here. So that's one way you can use in your advantage. But I mean, it's one that, I've never really taken into account of, watching it. It's like, oh God, I only have this amount of time until I can throw my next pitch. So it's like, I want to go, go, go. But I know then you have other guys who are in mixed reviews of like, oh, it's rushing us. Like, that's why there's so many injuries in baseball. Like, it's not enough like cool down time between pitches. Like, it's hurting your arm. But for me, it's something I've never really noticed in that aspect. So I think it's something that's good. Helps the pace of play. So.
Do they check your glove at the college level? Do they like they do in the pros?
Junior college level, no. This past summer, for like the first 2 games, they did, and then they never did again. So I guess it just depends where you're at.
Okay.
Make sure you weren't using the spider tack.
Yep.
Have you tried that?
No, I have not.
Okay,
I'm like a sweating rosin.
What is that now? The spider tag?
Yeah, that's what they were using in baseball a couple of years ago when, they were trying to snap off the best curveballs they could. And that's why the umpires are checking the pitcher's glove and hands now to make sure they don't have this sticky substance on there that lets you hold on to the ball and spin it a lot better.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Now, I was going to talk about the years now, but 2021, you guys were 13-10, again, limited the number of games you could play. But then your last year, right, 21 to 22, 28-7, 12-2 in conference. Assume you won the conference championship.
Yes, we did. And 21 was odd, too, because baseball and football overlapped for most of the season.
Oh, that's right.
Ethan was a football player, and a high-level good football player, high-level good baseball player. So, Joe Ryan and I got together and said, what do we want to do with these guys? We had so many kids that were baseball, football. And so we said, okay, you can have these guys on Tuesdays and Thursdays because they're defensive guys. You can have these guys on Mondays and Wednesdays. And our catcher at that time, we said, I need the catcher all the time. He plays in one package in football. I need him for every game. And then push came, we agreed to that, and then push came to shove. And then it was like, Joe's like, well, I don't know if I want to do that. I was like, Joe, that's not what we agreed to. So
that's awesome.
But that was a whole strange season there. And then won the conference in 22, with some really good teams. I think we should mention here too that there were 3 players from our conference that got drafted in this year's draft. Wheeler from Morris went in the 6th round to Texas, and then Julius Sanchez from LP got drafted in the 20th round. So
wow.
I mean, a 16 conference has 3 guys drafted in the same year. I think it speaks a lot about our conference. And with us and Morris playing in the super sectional last year. But yeah, in 22 we were really good. In 22 we won the regional. In 22, Ethan's senior year in the regional championship, he pitched at Belvedere and he threw a 1-hit shutout. And the 1 hit was a ground ball up the middle that our shortstop was getting ready to field and it hit the base.
Ah.
And then in the sectional championship against Caneland, he threw a no-hitter. We couldn't bring him back. That was on Saturday. We couldn't bring him back on Monday to pitch the super sectional, but there's no way that he would have given up any runs in the super sectional against Washington that year. It would have been,
That's the thing about the playoffs, right? I mean, you get the one and done, and then you're going to get to burn your best guy, and then...
Yeah, you want to save your best guy for the championship games, then you don't get him for the super sectional.
And Ethan, you certainly understood that, right? The mindset there. You got to get the win anyway first if you want to go to the...
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's one of those, if I could have thrown, I would have, but probably wouldn't have been the safest thing, so...
No. Definitely not.
And what was a highlight for you during your high school career at Sycamore? I knew there were many, but was there one that stands out? One that no-hitter maybe?
Yeah, it's definitely got to be the no-hitter and obviously winning the sectional championship. I think for me, that was one of my favorite years of baseball. Is just, I think that team was just filled with a bunch of best friends, really. So it was just a super close-knit group, and, we did a lot of things together, and obviously been through a lot with, obviously, COVID, before that and whatnot. So it was just definitely, that no-hitter, and just, being with that group of guys is a great group of guys. A lot of them are still playing to this point, so.
Yeah, let's go through some. I can't do them all here, obviously, but some of your fellows there with Byron Blaze was a fellow senior, and Griffin Hallahan. Tell us about those guys.
Yeah, no, Byron, we went to Rock Valley together. He was my roommate.
Oh, cool.
So he's just, that's just one of those.
What's his nickname? I'm going to ask you about the nickname with Storm. With Blaze, he's got to have a great nickname.
Usually it's just Blaze.
Oh, just Blaze. Okay, that's good enough by itself. Yeah.
But, he's just one of those. He's one of your glue guys. Like, he's a big rah-rah guy, and he's going to hold your team together, and, he's going to mouth off a little bit, but, you always need someone like that. And he's just, he's an awesome dude. And
you love him if he's on your team, and you hate him if he's on the other team.
All right, okay. I know that. Yeah. And Hallahan, tell about it.
Yeah, absolute standout lefty. He's going to Indianapolis. He was a great guy for us. pitched really well. I mean, overall, great guy. I haven't seen him in a long time, but he's another guy that we hung out a lot with. And I mean, him and his brother are going to be doing some big things here.
Now, I made my high school team because I was a lefty, and they didn't have any left-handed pitching. Is that fair, Coach? Do you always want a lefty in the bullpen, or does it make a difference?
I want as many lefties as we can. Every kid that comes into high school, whether he pitches or not, he's a pitcher until he proves otherwise. So we keep running him out there, and we've turned a couple kids into college pitchers that came into high school that were just not very good at that time. But
is that right?
Give him 2 innings a week. And let's see what he can do. So we did that this year. We tried that with Davis Colley this year too. We tried freshman year, sophomore year, junior year. That experiment ended.
All right,
he's a hitter.
Now, did you pitch in Little League, or is that from the get-go? Or
Yeah, I mean, I kind of started pitching from a young age, but I always wanted to be a hitter and play infield, even though I was pretty bad at it.
Okay.
And then, I mean, started playing outfield. Always still kind of pitched, but I mean, it was always Coach Cavanaugh told me, he's like, "You're going to be a pitcher," and I was just like, "No, I want to play outfield too." So. And then I guess kind of once you get into my senior year, I made a really big jump. I was like, all right, I'm going to be a pitcher.
Kind of knew what he was talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
How about Reese? I always say his name right. Benarkis?
Benarkis, yeah.
Remember, he didn't play a lot. But
he didn't play, but there's another glue guy for you right there who he could not have been a better team player. There's not a better team player that I've had coaching for 31 years. Anytime anybody did anything good, he was the first one high-fiving him in the dugout. He was always ready to go when you called his name. And, he's that team, the 22 team that we had was just so good that Reese is a starter on any other team that we had, except for 22 and 23 probably.
Yeah.
He's a starter, and he accepted his role, and he was the biggest Ethan Storm fan there was. I mean, it was, when we played against LaSalle Peru, we were getting ready to play them. They had beat us junior year. Our guys weren't ready to face that. It was probably 90 then, and we're really ready to face that. And we had a pep assembly at school, and Reese was saying, come on out to our game. He's like, they have Julius Sanchez, but we have Ethan Storm. He riled up that whole crowd, and so we went out and beat him.
Yeah, that's great.
Decisively too. I think we beat him 5 or 6-2,
And you mentioned Owen Piazza earlier. Tell us about Owen. What's he doing now?
Yeah, so he's actually rehabbing Tommy John as well.
Is he right?
Yeah, so he's rehabbing that, and I know it's a tough time, and then really just trying to figure out probably his next steps for where he wants to go play next. So, I wish nothing but the best for him. He's a really good kid and really good family. So
that is awesome.
Hopefully, hoping for the best for him and his comeback and his journey back from surgery.
And Kiefer Ternacki, boy, he was what a great center fielder he is. So tell us about it. Do you know where Kiefer's at now? What's he doing?
Yeah, Kiefer's going to Western Kentucky. Yeah.
Okay.
He had originally committed to Bradley, and then Bradley changed their whole coaching staff. So he decommitted from Bradley. This was after playing at Lakeland. He played in the National Junior College World Series.
Wow.
Leadoff man, captain for that team. And so he got a Division I offer out of it and took it. He's going to Western Kentucky.
Very good. And speaking of great swing, Tommy Townsend. I always love Tommy's left-handed swing. Tell us about Tommy. Do you know where Tommy's at now?
Tommy was at Butler for the last 2 years. But this year he went in the portal, and now he's going to Xavier next year.
Now, he pitched a little bit, too, right?
Pitched a little bit in high school. Yeah, he didn't even want to pitch. We just there's the lefty thing. We just made him pitch. He's really good at it. So we made him keep going, and he just hits in college. He's been mostly outfield, but I think he played a little first base, too. So, he's another guy who might get drafted. I mean, in my mind, he has a draftable swing. That's for sure. And no shortage of power at all. So hopefully he puts it all together this year.
Now, I can't name all the players. I wish I could, but my favorite was always Jimmy Appman, Mr. Intensity, as I call him. Talk about Jimmy and just his style of play.
Just another one of your big rah-rah guys.
That's a rah-rah guy for sure.
Yeah, there's no one who wants it more than Jimmy. But, I mean, I grew up playing with him. I mean, he's just an awesome dude. And he's at Heartland right now, and I think he's kind of waiting to see where he's going to commit here for next year. But I mean, just another high leverage,
if he threw a bad pitch, you knew he threw a bad pitch.
Right. No, I mean, yeah, you can't hate the kid. I mean, you just like the way he competes on the mound. There's no one who wants to dominate more than him.
That's awesome. And Coach, let's talk about the coaches too. John Devine, if I'm saying that right.
Yeah, John Devine. He had his first year this year as our freshman coach and did a really good job. I don't have a lot of contact with the freshman coach during the season because we all play at the same time. But I talked to a couple parents of players that I know, and they said that the kids loved playing for him. He knew what he was talking about. He knew what he was doing. So he did a good job.
Do you have any input on who they hire for the freshman coach?
For sure, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
But in general, there's not many applicants to coach freshman baseball. There's not a lot of desire to go out there and freeze and coach the freshmen.
Well, we had the pleasure of joining the state championship track team from Sycamore, and I understand a lot of the coaches there are volunteers, right? They volunteer to coach.
Yeah, we have we have 4 paid coaches and we have 3 volunteers. So,
That's great.
Yeah, it is, and they're all, well, 2 of the 3 are former players. So, and one of them was that little lefty who ended up pitching in college. You know, they said he was this pudgy little lefty. It's Colin Eggleston, you know, and we said, you know, our freshman coach at the time said, I don't think he's ready to pitch. And I said, you don't have a choice. Pitch him 2 innings a week or you're fired. You know, like that was it. And so he ended up pitching 4 years college baseball. So, yeah, and then Adam Lang does a wonderful job. He was with our freshman team up until last year. We moved him up to the sophomores, and our sophomores, I think they were 28-3 or 28-4, something like that. So that's a group we're looking forward to having next year. And then Josh Moss, who was our sophomore coach, we moved him up this year. He was a volunteer assistant with Ethan's group, and then he was our sophomore coach for 2 or 3 years, and then he's back to varsity now.
All right.
Yeah.
So 20 years from now, when you're one of the oldest pitchers in the Major League Baseball, you want to coach? You thinking about coaching after that?
I think, you know, that's something I've put a lot of thought to. I definitely want to be around the game of baseball, though, that's for sure.
Okay. Well, that's good enough right there. Now, Coach, we got to embarrass you a little bit, too. Of course, you're recently inducted in 2023 in the Hall of Fame there. See, I know you got your 600 win as well. Want to mention that you guys won 7 conference championships, 91, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2008, 2016, 2022, 9 regional championships, 3, 4, 8, 10, 13, 14, 16, 19, 22, and 3 IHH sectional championships, 2014, 16, and 22. And Coach said, your quote, I was elected by a group of my peers, so I'm pretty excited about it. But those numbers are kind of hard to argue with, Coach.
Well, I think you stay around long enough and you start to accumulate some numbers, you know, and I think the thing that I'm the most proud of over the years is not necessarily the wins, but the relationship with the players. You know, like you're trying to get guys to compete at a high level. And so what we always try to make sure we do is make sure guys are ready to get to go to the next level and be able to compete for something, where something won't be handed to you. Nothing gets handed to you at the college level at all. Sometimes it does in high school just because it's a numbers game. You know, we don't have anybody to play third base. You don't have anybody to pitch, so you just throw somebody out there and they get to do it. But, you know, at the college level, you got to earn everything you get. And that's why, you know, playing professionally, and that's the place where you need to compete the most.
Yeah,
because there are so many people who want your job. There's so many players in each organization. And it's hard, too, because, you know, like, not so much with pitchers because there's so many of them, but if you take catchers, for example, you know, if one catcher gets hurt because he's not taking care of his body, there's another guy, there's a whole group of guys ready to step right in there. So, you know, and I think what I want to know the most is like leading up to the draft, how much did teams talk to you?
Yeah.
It's tough because, so, I mean, it started back, like after last year's draft, literally like not 3 days, maybe a week after, Red Sox scout texted me, sent like email and stuff, because there's a thing called the prospect link where you get invited by a bunch of these teams, they'll send you questionnaires and whatnot, and then, I mean, contact-wise, had a call with the Cleveland Guardians over the winter, so it was just a call to check up and just ask me questions and kind of put together like a player development plan.
Like what kind of things would he ask? Just roughly, just
kind of like, you know, my strengths, weaknesses, like what do I want to work on? You know, what can I get better at?
Okay.
Just like stuff they do in their organization that, you know, I think I could benefit from, and basically the way they run things, their philosophies and whatnot, and just basically it could be life questions too. At the time, you know, I was still going through, you know, in the midst of the TJ rehab, and so it was a lot about that, and, you know, the mental side, and, you know, how stuff like that's going. But
well, let me ask you one. What do you want to study in school when you do go to school? Because you know, if you go pro, you could always go in the off season and finish up get your degree. What do you want to study?
Yeah, so I mean, anything business route. So that's kind of what I've been looking for. Always knew I wanted to do. Maybe start my own business one day, or just, you know, work for one. So
well, I always forget to write it down. What is the thing, Coach, where you can sell your image now, right? You can have your image in
and it's NIL.
NIL. Okay. Have you done any NIL, or what are you going to make some money and have maybe you could sell wallets? You could Ethan Storm wallets instead of I can't believe the Rays haven't sent you a new wallet, but have you thought about that?
No, not a whole lot. I guess it was more so in thoughts of if I was deciding to go to Oklahoma, then, you know, we're going to negotiate on that aspect. And then I know if I went to school, then my advisor could help me with like some, you know, NIL deals of some different companies and whatnot. But I guess at this moment now, it's something that I haven't really feed in too much. At the end of the day, I'm just here to play some ball. So.
All right. Well, when you make the Rays, they're going to, you know, you do that 20-second phone call. Hey, this is Ethan Storm from the Rays. Happy birthday. You know, and you pick up $500. So
right.
They're pretty good.
So on draft day, did they when did you know you were going to get picked in the 13th round?
Yeah, so I think it was like the end of the 11th round. Coach Aaron called me. My junior college coach called me. He's like, hey, the Rays reached out and asked if you're a good kid and you're healthy. And so I was like, okay. And then they didn't say much else. And texted my advisor, was like, hey, the Rays just said this, blah, blah, blah. And within a minute, he texted me back. He said, yeah, their assistant general manager just reached out asking if he takes so-and-so amount to sign. We told him yes. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, hope this goes through. Didn't hear back from him for like 6 minutes, probably the longest 6 minutes of my life. And then, then he texted me back and was like, you're going in the 13th. So it was just, it was a pretty cool moment. Your heart starts racing a little bit, but I wasn't too sold on it until I saw my name pop up on the draft tracker. So, it was definitely a cool moment.
Yeah, I was golfing when it happened, so I didn't see it. And then all of a sudden my phone just starts blowing up. And I was like, I can't imagine. I said to somebody, I was like, how many text messages do you think Ethan got? And so were you watching it on TV?
Yeah, I was. I was actually, so there's like a break after the 10th round, and I was kind of trying to make some plans to go golfing actually, because I don't know how this is going to go. I haven't heard much. And, even the talks up, I knew the interest was there, but I hadn't really talked to many pro teams, within the recent months. But, I was actually just thinking of going golfing, and ended up just getting that phone call. I ended up watching it, and once I knew that in talks after the 11th, so I was kind of just hawking at my phone, waiting for everything to happen, and I'd listen to it on the TV, so.
I love it. Well, great job interviewing, Coach. You stole my thunder because I was kind of saving that for the end, because I was really intrigued by the fact that he said that he called your coach there at Rock Valley, and representative reached out to Rock Valley coach and asked his health and if he was a good kid. Now, what does that mean to you? Why is that important? Why do you think they would even ask that question?
Yeah, I think character is a big thing. You can tell a lot, by you can look at performance and look if they're a high-level athlete, but then at the end of the day, it's about their character, how they can carry themselves on and off the field, and with the kind of maturity level. And obviously, it takes a lot of maturity and a high level of a person to end up play at the professional level. So that's something they want to bring in a good person in the organization. So I think it says a lot about someone, and obviously very blessed to have that opportunity and have them see that in me to be at that level.
You don't have to be a rah-rah guy per se, right? Necessarily.
No, not necessarily. I think it just speaks on your personality. If you're one of those, you're one of those. I don't try to do something that I don't want to do, and I've never really been a huge rah-rah guy. So there's times that you get fired up and whatnot, but I always just try to lead by my actions, lead by my game. I let the game kind of do my talking.
I'm glad you said blessed. My grandmother used to, when I said I was lucky for this, lucky for that, she goes, no, you're blessed. You're blessed. And you are blessed to have that. And your health and everything, and be able to come back like that. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Did you have something else, Coach, you're going to say? Because I want to do the Evan Longoria quiz here real quick.
What do you got? I'm just super excited for him. I can't wait. One of the things I've been doing for many, many years now is on Friday nights, I look at box scores. I look at everybody who we have playing, and I think this past year we had 19 kids on college rosters.
Is that right?
And so I had a lot of windows open on my phone. But now I get one professional. We get a professional one to look for, and again, I haven't had much contact with Ethan over the last couple of years, but even just I've seen him at the park a couple times, and then he walked in after me, and it's like not a high school kid. It's like that's a man's body right there. It's like, and even I texted him the other day. I heard an interview with him, and I just thought his interviews sounded so much better than they would have in high school. And I sometimes forget that it's not the same kid. It's not a high school kid here.
Right.
This is an adult who's done this before, and we're just super excited for it. I can't wait.
What do you think of the media, Ethan? Is it a necessary evil, or do you not mind doing stuff like this? What are your...
No, I don't mind doing stuff like this. It's definitely kind of new for me in a sense of learning how to do it. But I think kind of even going through like the recruiting aspect for looking at colleges and having a lot of phone calls kind of helps you with that. Just learning how to talk to people well and all that stuff. So, it's fun. Everything's a new experience for me. So.
Well, as an interview, my always biggest fear are the short answers. You haven't given me a lot of short answers, so I appreciate that. You actually give some detail. Now, we can't get in all detail of Longoria's career, but he does hold several records with the, now this is just during the years he was with Tampa Bay. How many records do you suppose he holds?
Well, he's got a call. I know he's probably, I want to say he's like Rookie of the Year, Gold Gloves, All-Stars, but it's been a while since I've done a lot. If you would have asked me this when I was probably 12 years old,
all right, well, he got 10. All right, but now when I was a kid, he used to be batting average, home runs, and RBIs. How many home runs? Because he didn't, the best batting average was Carl Crawford, 296 for a lifetime with the Rays. How many homers do you think he hit during his time with the Rays?
Yeah, it's above 300. I was going to guess like 296, but
actually 261. You would have been better with that guess there. And also with the one that's, well, let's do one more, the RBIs. What do you think? We're just within a couple hundred. What do you think? How many RBIs do you forget?
That's a tough one.
700 or 800?
Probably.
892.
Okay.
But again, leading the team with that. And then the one that kind of shocked me was the stolen bases. Now, how are you with stealing bases? Do you...
Been retired from that for a while. So. that I don't know, and especially coming from him being a third baseman, you don't expect stolen bags. So, I mean, it can't be a crazy high number, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's a little sneaky with it.
How about 409 stolen bases? Yeah. So back in then again, that was just during his time with Tampa Bay there. But it's going to be exciting for you, man, to do that. And where are their minor league affiliates? Do you know, or like where's their single A? You might go single A. Where would you?
I'd have to look. So they got like Charlotte, Bowling Green, Kentucky, which is actually cool because that's the Hot Rods, and my first ever coach pitch team was the Hot Rods. So it's kind of looking back at that. Is that
right? Okay.
So Hot Rods, Charlotte, and then there's one more.
Durham.
Yeah, Durham. Yeah, obviously that's a big one. So that's our AAA affiliate.
And you played with the Rivets now, right? So are you consider you're a pro now? Is that how that works? Were you paid by the Rivets?
No, I was not. So that's that was a college summer ball team.
Oh, it is. Okay.
So yeah, I did that my freshman year after college, and
the state college Spikes as well, right?
Yep, that was this past season. So that's kind of like a merged league. So the first half players, hoping to boost their draft stock and get drafted, and then right now they just started up their second half, so it turns into basically like an independent team where they get compensated. So.
Oh, very cool. Well, you're really good at the interviewing part, I'll tell you that, man. And I can't thank you guys enough. I was going to ask you about again, challenging the umpire and the pitch clock and how that stands for the future of baseball. But you're pretty comfortable with the game. The game season is popular now as ever.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it comes down to being a student of the game, like knowing, I have a lot more to learn and a lot more growing to do. So that's at the end of the day. That's why they took a chance on me. They're investing in your work, your craft. So, I mean, there's a lot more to build, and just, knowing I have a high ceiling and basically just getting to this point. I've never been at a high level and have like all the technology and everything. So really looking forward to kind of getting in and putting in the work and just seeing where this can, take me.
Yeah, that pitch lab sounds really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I tell you, we got just a minute here, but tell me I know you talk to your fans a lot, but a lot of people from Sycamore are listening right now. What do you want to tell them with all the support they gave you through the years?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it. Obviously, it's something that, who would have known this would happen?
Right.
So, I mean, just, I'm very blessed to have a great community and support staff from all coaches and, family members and friends and everyone. So, that's something that doesn't go unrecognized, and I really appreciate all the support and just having a group of people, behind me, just knowing that they're supporting me and want nothing but the best for me.
And old man Cavanaugh, got to do your heart good.
It does. It does. And it's not surprising that this is what happened. His parents are great people. They've been 100% supportive of everything that we did with him for 4 years. And then I can't imagine it would be any different. But it's exciting, not just because it's, the first player we've had drafted, because it's such a cool kid, and such a good kid. And, it's like always super quiet in the classroom, quiet on the baseball field, quiet in practice, until you're throwing a no-hitter in the seventh inning against your big rivals, and then you're screaming at the hitter in the batter's box, That was fun. That was exciting.
One of my favorite books is the Lou Gehrig story. And then Lou Gehrig, very quiet guy, but just went out and let his actions speak for him. So, I mean, you kind of fit that category. And I can't thank you enough. Now, I should get this in writing, but will you promise to come back and visit us when you're a big shot major leaguer? Can you come and visit us?
Yeah, you can count on it. So.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Again, we are so proud. I know I speak for the community. We are so proud for you. I am excited. Again, I can't imagine how excited you are. We look forward to whatever decision you make in terms of school and what you're going to do, but we know you're going to be great at it. Coach Cavanaugh, again, we can't say enough about you, man. Hall of Fame, and just to you for making this happen today. I can't thank you enough. And don't retire. You don't have to. You're 12 years old, for gosh sake. You don't have to retire.
Yeah, I'm excited that I got to do this. And I was texting Ethan, and I said, I've never done a podcast before. I listened to him. I've never done one before. So he said, me either. So he was excited about it too. So it's pretty cool. That's the same as always, like the radio interviews, just make us feel big time.
All right, well, you are. You guys are big time. And then again, I'm certainly saying that now. Again, the 13th round, Ethan Storm has been drafted by the Tampa Bay Rays. We look forward to visiting him during his pro career. But thank you again, Ethan, for your time today. We really appreciate it. And Coach Cavanaugh, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it.
TD. Appreciate it.
And that's TD Ryan Unleashed Sports Podcast Bonus 1. TD Ryan Unleashed is brought to you by Scott Zyman, your State Farm insurance agent. Scott can help you save money bundling your home and auto insurance. Call 815-748-3101 or stop by at 2587 Sycamore Road, Suite D in DeKalb. Like a good neighbor, Scott Zyman and State Farm are there. Pizza Villa, pizza, pasta, sandwiches, and more at 824 West Lincoln Highway in DeKalb. For delivery or pickup, call 815-758-8116 or go to pizzavilla.com. My Insurance Guys in Sycamore, family owned, local, reliable. My Insurance Guys cover Medicare to auto and everything in between. Call us in Sycamore at 815-899-0950. My Insurance Guy, business, auto, home, life, and health at myinsuranceguy.com. And Eldercare Services of DeKalb County, safe, secure, and supported, helping you stay at home where you want to be. Call 815-758-6550 or stop in at 1701 East Lincoln Highway in DeKalb or on the web at ecsdekalb.org.